some very exciting discussions for today, haven't we, Carol?
We hope so, anyway.
We hope so, yeah. We're gonna discuss the captains, aren't we, today?
Yes. Because there's such a divide, because there's the slightly older generation who say Kirk and no one else. Then there's the people who kind of came to it in the next generation and will have no other captain but Picard. Cisco. Now, yeah, controversial choice normally. And then Janeway.
An Archer.
I know, an Archer. Sorry. I've not watched Enterprise, don't judge me.
Maybe we should put you through Trekkies in training. God,
Okay.
Trekkies in graduation, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people draw similarities between Captain Archer and Captain Kirk, don't they? And
Yeah, I think one of the original concept was that Archer was Kirk's inspiration, so that there would be similarities between the two.
yeah.
And Cisco.
Yeah.
I found him hard to like in the early seasons, but
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that's because he didn't like Picard, and I can completely understand why.
With you.
But because he didn't, I couldn't warm to him. It took a while.
I'll admit I did too. I couldn't even watch Deep Space Nine at first because of the hatred he had towards Picard.
God, yeah.
I'm like, oh, how dare you?
Yeah, I know it's completely understandable, and we get it, but then yeah, all of us have forgiven Picard for what happened, and it wasn't his fault. So
Well, what Cisco needed was a shrink right from the beginning,
Yeah,
didn't he?
exactly.
If he had Council of Troy on board, it'd be sorted.
And then I wasn't so fond of some of his storylines with the prophets and stuff like that.
Oh.
I didn't like that angle of it.
No, I'm not. I didn't like that.
I did just this religious element within Star Trek that it just didn't need.
No, in fact, I think that's quite a good subject actually.
Yeah.
Religion and Star Trek.
Yeah. Yeah.
We won't bring that in up quite yet. I
No,
don't think.
it's too heavy so early on.
We need a few drinks before we get
Yeah.
Not back a couple of
Yeah.
tranyas before we start
Exactly.
talking about religion. But yeah, it is a. I know what you mean. The whole prophet story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although the episode Far Beyond the Stars, that was thanks the prophets for that episode.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's Janeway.
Janeway.
I like Janeway.
She's a powerful woman. She confuses me. 1 minute she'll follow.
Does she
prime-
confuse you?
Yeah.
She stirs confusing
She
feelings
does.
in
She
you.
does. Strong women always do. It's her. To begin with, she followed the Prime Directive without question. And then later on, the series goes on, it becomes a bit blurry.
Yeah, the whole sharing technology, like giving
Yeah.
the Kazons the replicator, no,
Yeah.
holographic
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
It just becomes a little more grey, and it's like, well, if you had been like that to begin with, then the whole situation might not have happened to begin with.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But
I'll let her off.
yeah. Obviously, I led off in as a character development, and yeah, being that far away from home for so long obviously changes you. But yeah, again.
What about the episode Equinox with the captain of the starship Equinox, is it? And he's a bit of a dick, and he's all like, whatever to the Prime Directive. And she's all, you've got to obey the Prime Directive. But then she becomes really mean and becomes, a bit of a douchebag herself, doesn't she?
That's the thing, yeah. This is why she confuses me. I like her most of the time, but then other times I'm like, what the Spock?
What the Spock? Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Then you're going to have to talk about Archer.
Yeah, well, I think we sort of covered Archer to an extent, but I like Archer. I will admit, I do like Captain Archer. At first, he's a bit, how dare you be rude to the Vulcans? But then I didn't realise the Vulcans were going to be such arses. What did they do to the Vulcans?
Yeah.
In Enterprise, they were so mean.
Maybe something happened with the Vulcans and Klingons where they changed so dramatically, because, you think original series Klingons, then you think Next Generation Klingons, something clearly changed there. Maybe the same thing happened with the Vulcans. They had a big meeting and it just changed.
They did have their big awakening where they sort of embraced the teachings of Surak,
Right.
so... And it wasn't until that episode where you think, oh, I see what's going on here. They were just they were a bit stuffy. They sort of went a lot more mellow. They became a lot more spiritual. I think, you know, a bit more Buddha-like during Enterprise. So it was quite nice to see that development. But at the beginning, you're like,
what have you done?
You know, first you're like angry at Archer because he's been mean to the Vulcans, and then you're like, well, hang on a minute, the Vulcans are a bit stuffy, you know.
What about new Kirk? We haven't got a new Kirk. New Kirk. Sorry, it's the talk of something happening to the Vulcans, obviously.
Yeah.
We have to undo it. I have to undo it was the first words that came into my head, and then it went...
Undo.
Undo it, undo it.
Undo.
Undo.
Naturally leads to the new Star Trek film.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like him.
I like him, yeah.
I think it's really good, actually. I think all of the new Star Trek people, their acting ability is brilliant.
Is very good.
He's so different from William Shatner, though.
Yeah. Except for one moment.
That's one moment. We love it. We love it. Don't worry. Carol and I are very lucky. We went to the Star Trek premiere, the Star Trek 09 premiere in Leicester Square. Best day of our lives.
God, yeah.
Except the bit where we nearly chased down JJ and went, what did you do to Vulcan?
Yeah. I did have to comfort Sam. There was some anger.
I was pretty distraught. I've got some relative peace with that now.
I think, he's starting a whole new timeline. I get it. Or if he doesn't correct it, which...
Well, now I can picture it running parallel to the timeline. And when I read the book Countdown... That made me feel better because I'm like, the others are okay. They're all, and it reminds me of the Mirror Universe.
Yeah.
Because you've got the Mirror Universe, and that doesn't mean that the current
universe doesn't exist.
You know, the Prime Universe. So there's sort of like Mirror Universe, Prime, JJ Universe. You know.